How's it going, everybody? We now have the patch notes for the coming patch from Amazon. These are normally accurate, and if they are, it looks like we're going to be getting Commander level 100 this patch. Now, that doesn't mean this is going to happen as soon as the patch goes live. It could happen deep into the patch, and since this is going to be the long patch, it could be 2 months away. But we just had a gold spending event, so you might want to start getting some resources ready for your favorite characters. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I think are the most influential characters, give a little bit of explanation why, talk about the characters getting left behind, and some that we'll keep an eye on if we happen just to have a bunch of resources. Well, let's talk about what the implications of level 100 might be, and we'll do all that and more right now. Alright, so join with me today is my favorite co-host. We got Twitch chat up there, so keep an eye on what they're saying, because they do have a couple nuggets of intelligence and a couple doozies. But there's a couple smart people in this chat for sure. So this is the Amazon release notes. We have the new characters: Nightcrawler, Sunspot Forge, Gwenom, and Void Knight. Updates for Cyclops, Gambit, Venom, and Carnage. Extremely Sinister Showcase, Hive Mind Showcase. The Escape from Killin is what I've been told it's called. New Origin Gear challenges. We saw that in the blog that wasn't supposed to go out. New Gold Rush and Training Day challenge tiers. That was the same thing in the blog we're supposed to go out. Scotty, you're in the chat. You count. And then Commander level 100. So what happened last time when we had a level increase is that it was not accompanied by a gear tier. So it had exorbitant stat jumps. So 995, first of all, cost a lot of gold, but was super impactful to your character's stats. We don't know if that's going to be the case now. That's a big unknown. One thing we know for sure is going to be expensive. And you're going to need to level those characters up in order to bring them into Dark Dimension 7 for Mephisto, which was announced, right? So we're going to not really lean too much into that, because personally, I don't think it's necessary to start already talking about Dark Dimension 7. Because we haven't had that gear tier announced. It doesn't say gear tier is being announced yet. So in my head, I'm thinking it's more likely going to be a heavy stat boost to the level front. And this is obviously a way Scope they can kind of double dip, right? They can get money from having the stats in the levels matter a lot more, and then when the gear tier comes out, do that as well. All right, so let's go look at this tier list that me and Twitch chat put together. Now, Twitch chat does not sign off on all my reasonings, but I'm going to talk about why I think what I think, at least for the most part. So we got Skrull Apocalypse coming in at ranks 1 and 2. So S tier is the best characters in the game, but by far Skrull is your first, and then Apocalypse is your second. They're just so impactful in all the modes. They're kind of your arena MVPs. They hold down a war fight, a crucible fight together, whether that be on the offensive or defensive side. So you're definitely going to want them. Robbie Reyes comes in at number 3 for me. He's the best Secret Defender character. Yes, even better than Black Cat. What he does with his turn bar manipulation from getting bleeds and the damage he does is stupid. Also, because Robbie is available in the Diamond promotion store, if you do have him at 7 red stars, you can actually get him higher than Black Cat could possibly go, because we don't have diamonds available for Black Cat. And even when we do, it's going to be different currency that we're probably going to use on our Apocalypse unless you won the gold spending auction. So I think Robbie Reyes is a very smart rank 3. Next coming in is Goblin. Now, Goblin has just proved himself in all game modes. War, Crucible, he's going to be amazing in Tower. If there's a villain section in any kind of upcoming Scourge, he's going to be used there. He's an amazing character. He even is edging out Kang in my books because of the Terminator Rewind he does, because of the damage, the defense down, and all the debuffs. Very, very impactful character. Coming in at 128 speed, he is kind of plug and play, but he does lose a lot outside of his team. Then we have Kang. Now, Kang is... falling off isn't the right word. He's, like, slipping a little bit. He's still an amazing plug-and-play character. We're still using him in the Infestation matchup against Tangled Web. There's still many reasons to use Kang. And obviously, his damage is crazy. Though he's slipping, he still makes the S tier because in Crucible, in that Stage 1 Secret Defender matchup, especially their Secret Defender Skrull, he needs to be killing people. So if this level cap is going to make the Secret Defenders that much tankier, then Kang needs to match that increase and be able to kill that much better. So that's why Kang absolutely needs to be there. It'll help in the Infestation matchup too, just for him to be tankier. Then we go down to A tier. So we do have Nightcrawler coming in this patch. Nightcrawler, I don't have the portrait, so that's why he looks the way he looks. He is going to be a crazy character. Now, While you guys are watching this on YouTube, you've now seen what Nightcrawler does in the gameplay, okay? He's scary good. The damage, the speed, the control, he is scary good. Not just in raids, but everywhere. That's all I can say right now. Juggernaut, Zombie Juggernaut. For those of you who bought him and have him really high, you already know the value of this character. For those of you who didn't buy him super high, the extra levels are going to afford you a little bit of a breather for him not to die, especially in the early stages of the level cap increase before everyone has all their characters leveled up, or at least the ones that they're going to be using to kill your Zombie Juggernaut on the defensive side. You're going to find that the extra levels will be very helpful in letting him kind of snowball the way he needs to snowball. Because once he gets running, he is unstoppable. That's why he's the Juggernaut. All right, Quicksilver. Now, Quicksilver, kind of like Kang, is slipping a little bit. He's still kind of this defensive one-man threat, especially in Crucible, like the Stage 3 where he's getting the ult turn 1. Or if you're using him on the offensive side, like him and a character like Doom can take down a lot of kind of the B-tier teams on their own. But it all comes down to Quicksilver. So again, if those teams are going to be getting powered up, you're going to want a bigger Quicksilver. It's also going to help you deal with enemies' efficiency, right? So in Crucible, you're going to be killing that much faster. He survives. He can't be a reround, so he's always kind of that thorn. He's definitely one of the highest dark promotion priorities after Apocalypse, and we'll see when Skrull pops. So it's kind of hard to get him to be maxed out. So that level 100 could help him there, and then you can catch up on the red stars when you have the opportunity. Then we got Kestrel. So Kestrel's holding it down for the Pegasus team, but that's not why she makes this list this high. It's because of her use in War and Crucible, like just annihilating people, the stats that she's got, and then it doesn't hurt that she's going to be one of those mythic characters that we're bringing to Dark Dimension 7. So she's just an all-around great character. Not much to say there. She is a blunt weapon, and she is ready to smash things. Then we got Black Cat. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset about Black Cat being this low on the list. I think it's 132 speed, trauma stun turn 1. She's an amazing character. Lots of damage, slows, rewinds on the basic, right? The ultimate, stealing buffs, all that kind of stuff. She's really good. The problem is she's gated on the red stars. And she's outshined by Robbie Reyes on her own team, and she is kind of stuck a little bit on her own team. Now, she could definitely go flex elsewhere, steal revives from Dormammu teams, do a turn 1 stun, all that kind of stuff. But Robbie Reyes, with that speed manipulation and all the damage he does, he outshines Black Cat. So, I don't like to put in resources on one team. I like to kind of isolate the MVPs of a team and max them out, and Robbie would be the MVP of the team. So that's why he goes over the Black Cat. Speaking of MVPs of their team, then we have Weaver. Weaver, like a lot of people are starting to come in and counter Weaver, right? Like Spider Slayer is now countering that. Apocalypse was the first. New Warriors came in with accuracy. So there's a lot of people that are coming in to just straight up counter what the Tangleweb team does. In fact, it's now becoming kind of a meme where like every new team is coming in with some sort of accuracy so that they can tackle that. So yeah, the Tangled Web, they're starting to fall off a little bit with perma kills. Again, a turn 1 stun, but a lot slower at 127. The blind mechanic is nice. The insane damage from her. She still definitely belongs in your top 15 characters, if you will. But she's fallen down a little bit to the B tier. Speaking of falling down, Icarus he refuses to fall down. He's kind of been a solid B-tier option forever. With Gear Tier 18 now, with level 100, with ISO 5, he's doing just so much damage. You know, his special, if it gets blocked, he's ripping people apart. His ultimate, if he can get the double tap, great. If not, he's still flipping buffs, still doing a lot of damage, still doing a turn meter rewind, unblockable, 500% focus. Gonna keep him in the meta for quite a while, so Icarus is a safe investment. Then there's Nova. Nova is obviously a war MVP, and then he's kind of like a side character for Crucible, and he's kind of going along with the Tangled Web wherever they go for the most part. With a turn 1 stun, he's very valuable, 126 speed, so even slower than Weaver, and it doesn't have trauma outside of war. This is kind of what's limiting Nova and keeping him out of that top conversation, and keeping him kind of like a last pick for those dark promos for most characters, most players rather, which is unfortunate. Alright, C tier. This is another one that was really unpopular with people. Hardlight being this low. I don't see it, guys. In the matchups that Hardlight's in, there's built-in counters to her. Titania counters her with stealing the buffs and putting the disrupt and ability block before she even gets to go. The new Warrior team in Crucible, they're flipping the buffs right away. In War, you know, it's Thanos Apocalypse. They're flipping those buffs right away, stunning, all that kind of stuff. I just don't see Hardlight being the brick wall that people claim she is, but that doesn't mean she's not valuable. She's still super good on her team. The turn meter run is huge in tower mode in the coming killing mode. I'm gonna butcher that, sorry. I'm trying. I really am. In the killing mode, I think she's going to be really valuable in a three-piece. Her Robbie and Black Cat, I could see absolutely being a monster team. So she definitely needed to make this list for that regard alone, because this tower mode looks awesome. All right, Gambit being the kind of the most built character for this new reworked Extreme team. Nightcrawler is for sure going to be MVP, but Gambit, because he's already built up from People's Apocalypse, because he has that Crucible use, a lot of people have Gear Tier 18 already. He's very valuable. Now, is he carrying that team like Kestrel carries Pegasus? Absolutely not. No, it's not the same at all. But having extra levels in your Gambit will help you on the offensive side in Crucible, or sap efficiency on the defensive side, and will make the team usable in War to a certain degree. Because now he has that alt turn 1 that can flip things, or sorry, alt turn 2 that can flip things outside of Crucible. So it's a very impactful character, and he hits really hard, especially when he's paired with Sunspot, having that offense up turn 1. All right, some new Superior 6 came in. Now, they are so good. The Superior 6 team is my favorite team. Not even of the year. It's just my favorite team to play right now. With Lizard coming in with a turn 1 taunt, stealing everybody's buffs, setting the stage for Goblin, or setting the stage for Kraven to just come in and bust people open. This power couple, or this power trio of Lizard, Kraven, and Goblin is absolutely insane. Now, we'll talk about Spider Slayer a little bit later, but this three-piece is crazy. Speaking of killing, Spider Slayer might replace Kraven. We'll talk about that when we get there. Just very, very exciting characters. Good in both War and Crucible. Going to be good in Tower. If there's a villain section like we talked about with Goblin, they're gonna make the jump there. So they had to make this list. Then we have Firestar. Now, Firestar is an amazing Crucible character. She makes this list a C tier because she carries her team to victory. With those bleeds that she's putting out on her ultimate and just the offense down and everything else she does, you really want her to be as big as possible. So, if you like Crucible, you should be eyeing her for a potential upgrade as you level. Then we have Titania. Now, Titania is she's the second fiddle to Kang, but she's still a very good character in her own right. With the speed on spawn and her being crucial in protecting your team from what Miss Marvel does, she had to make this list. Also, in that stage 1, which we're currently dealing Crucible, it's so important for you to be able to get kills that if you only invest in Kang and Apocalypse and you don't have, say, your Titania and your Moonstone leveled up and you're not getting the kills quickly enough, the enemy team, if they're all leveled up, because it's a very popular arena team, it's going to be a problem for you. If they get to take some turns and you haven't killed people yet, it's going to suck. All right, Red Hulk. Now, Red Hulk is really far down this list. A lot of people are upset about that as well, but I don't understand why you're upset about that. This team has so many counters in War now. They are the Secret Defender Skrull killing team in War, so that's why he makes this. That is why he makes this list, by the way, is because of his use in War. His use in Crucible right now is kind of undetermined. Him and the Gamma team, they get walked over by a bunch of teams. Like Doom Quicksilver beats this team really efficiently. New Warriors walks over this. There's Nowhere team that beats. There's a lot of teams that beat the Gamma team now. So as far as like a general powerhouse team, they're not it. They're probably not even a top 10 general powerhouse team anymore. But he's so good in that Secret Defender Skrull killing War team that he had to make this list. And also for his plug and play value in the future when him and Apocalypse kind of get married and go do their thing. So that's definitely why he makes this list. Dormammu is an absolute stat machine. You're using him in all modes for sure. And the fact that he's going to probably be pigeonholed into your DD7 roster means that he had to make this list at some point. So you might as well get it done early. Him surviving to hit his ultimate will be devastating. It's just a good value. So I do like the Dormammu there. Photon, the kind of the last member that matters on that Secret Defender team. I think a lot of people are going to start getting comfortable pulling her off for A-Force, and then she becomes kind of the shining star of the A-Force War team, which is great. And because of her use in the defensive stage 1 of Crucible, she's very impactful and important there. And remember, when this Crucible season is over and Secret Defenders becomes a flex team either to offense or defense, you're probably going to want to use the full 4-piece in Crucible, so she has a lot of value in both modes. 2099, now 2099 is definitely falling off, mostly in the focus department. So being able to land his defense down his slows changes a lot of matchups. So having him as a skirmisher level 5, gear tier 18, and now level 100, he's going to be much more likely to land those debuffs, which will proc your Kestrel if she's paired with them, which will let your your Weaver one-shot somebody when she's hitting into that vulnerable, into the defense down target. So there's a lot of reasons why you want a stronger 2099. He's still a good Dark Dimension 7 option, but I would argue that like the Superior 6 are kind of the better city options now. But he makes his list. I got a fond place in my heart for 2099. I think he's a really great character. Now the D list. This is where we're not really scraping the bottom of the barrel yet, but a lot of these are going to be controversial. Gwenpool. Now she's going to be a Crucible MVP character, right? She's right alongside your Firestar. The reason Gwenpool's on this list is not because of her special. It's actually because of her ultimate, being the permakill. I've been finding a lot of Dormammu variants coming in, whether that be with the Unlimited team, or with a leftover Sinister Six team, or with Darkhold, whatever the case may be. Gwenpool's kind of coming in and she's holding it down for you. So having her bigger, so she's getting permakills on her ultimate and just surviving through all the nonsense so that your Firestar reaches her second turn and your Death Pool can then yoink the soul out of somebody is very important. So Gwenpool makes the list there. Morgan Le Fay, it's hard to just take Morgan Le Fay off anything, because as a striker, when she's super built up, she could be one-shotting damn near anybody, including Skrull. So she had to make this list just for that potential nuke factor, but let's not kid around. Like, she has fallen off. The Darkhold team in general has fallen off a lot, right? But with the turn meter rewinds and the turn meter gains she has, there's still some interesting potential play for her. They're seeing a lot of use now on the offensive side of Crucible, as well as just being a defensive, hey, now you have to use Tangled Web here. So there's some use there, and in War they have a bazillion counters, but they do demand that counter. And if you happen just to build your Darkhold super high and you slap Rhino in there, all of a sudden Underworld does start struggling. So that's kind of an interesting nod there. Rogue. So Rogue would not have made this list before Nightcrawler was announced, but now that Nightcrawler is announced, and he's giving that speed bar to all X-Men characters as well as one non-X-Men character, she's gained a lot of value. So in Crucible and War, I do kind of imagine Nightcrawler a default plug-and-play character with those X-Men, or with Skrull, but that might be a little bit overkill, and the teams that are going to counter the Skrull, they may be eating that speed up from Nightcrawler, stopping him from getting to do his thing anyway. So we're going to see how the Nightcrawler situation plays out. It might be overkill with him in Apocalypse or him with Skrull, but Nightcrawler does kind of act as like a mini Red Hulk for Apocalypse 2. I'm getting away from myself, but just the Nightcrawler and the new Extreme members joining in has really increased Rogue's stocks. And I think she's going to be powerful and valuable. And if she can actually get that taunt off, you'll be happy she's level 100. Because then she'll quickly fire off that ultimate and people get shredded. If she's allowed to take turns, if we can make it so she's getting turns, people get absolutely shredded. Alright, Doom. Now, Doom is going to be a default DD7 character for now, unless we get more mythic characters coming in. But in his own right, he can still do damage. Mostly we would want the levels for him to actually land his buff flips on his ultimate, so he can put those vulnerables out, bring someone more impactful on the ride. That's kind of where Doom is at, but still a very good character to pick on. Thanos, great in War, very good War team, kind of does demand some sort of thought before you just walk in there if it's a fully built Black Order team. If you don't have a fully built Black Order team, I don't really see the value in it. Same in Crucible, in the current Stage 3, Black Order is very valuable, but when this stage is gone, I don't imagine we're going to see another Ultimate Turn 1 stage, so I would suspect that Black Order will fall off a cliff then, so be very careful if you decide to invest further into Thanos. You gotta have to build up the whole Black Order to make sure they retain value in War. Cyclops, I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but keep an eye out for some Extreme X-Men videos coming out. I'm sure there's going to be lots of great content creators coming out showing their use in Crucible and most definitely in War, in Raids. Of course, this is a given they're going to be awesome. But Cyclops firing off that turn 1 ult because of Sunspot, having offense up, it's crazy damage. And then it's putting Slow out for 2 turns. He's a very valuable character. You want him to survive. You want him to put his defense downs out. He's not a glass cannon, and he's not a kit-based character. He's kind of in this weird middle spot. I would equate him to kind of around Titania level balance between damage and kit. Then we have Nakia, the complete opposite spectrum of that. She is a glass cannon, and boy howdy is she a good glass cannon. If you have this character maxed out, you definitely have experienced her greatness in War. For a while there, she was the head and shoulder, like She was above people's head and shoulders in the damage department. She's still hanging around there good, I think in the top 10. So bringing up to level 100 will help her in her war counters. And if you're in a pinch and you need to use war dogs against Infinity Watch, well, I have a couple videos out showing how to do that. And she's very impactful there as well, hitting that ultimate turn 2. Vulture, now that the full Superior 6 team is out, Vulture's not off the team. He's kind of relegated to war now, though. Whenever we're dealing with like a speed up, an enemy with speed up, right? Vulture comes to mind. He does a lot of interesting things. The problem with Vulture is that if you're trying to use the Superior 6 against like a Skrull team, he gives too much buffs to the enemy Skrull. His damage compared to the new Superior 6 members is definitely lacking. Like I have a maxed out Vulture. I'm talking 7 red stars, gear tier 18, ISO 5. I've definitely noticed that Lizard and Kraven are doing more damage than him, but kit-wise, he comes in and he does a lot of interesting stuff, and it's not like he's doing no damage. So I do still find that having him to have that extra oomph from like a level cap increase would be nice, especially because he does have that speed bar mechanic, right, where he's taking more turns. So if he can reach his ultimate, that is an execute, that'll increase the damage benefits you're getting from each level. So I think that's pretty important. So Vulture had to make this list. Spider Slayer, some people were fighting me on Spider Slayer to go here. I actually wanted Spider Slayer to be like around here. Sorry, on the opposite side of 29. I kind of wanted him to be around there, but I relented and I put him here. And let me tell you why. Spider Slayer is a Crucible character, okay? He's a great Crucible character. If you want to make a leftover Sinister 16 for War, he's also good there. I don't really care enough to build up 10 characters for War, unless they start making more War rooms myself. But Spider Slayer giving the offense up to the team to start lets Goblin and Lizard just absolutely truck enemies. Like, truck enemies. So Spider Slayer is super valuable. If he gets to do his ultimate, it absolutely demolishes people. People just haven't experienced, like, a fully built Spider Slayer the same way they've experienced a Giant Vulture. So I do think Spider Slayer needs to make this list. The full Superior 6 team is great in Crucible and in War. Spider Slayer is the first person to come off in War for Mysterio or for Vulture. So I get the apprehension there on building up extra characters. My theory with Sinister 6, or my plan with them, was to build 6 or 7 characters and kind of have one amazing War team, one amazing Crucible team, and in whatever mode, a couple people get benched, is what the plan was. And it is kind of what ended up happening, though we do have a strong leftovers team. You can't really tell who this character is, but this is Sunspot. I just don't have his portrait yet. Sunspot is basically the same character as Spider Slayer. He gives offense up on spawn. He's giving the team energy in between raid fights. He's giving ability energy, letting that Cyclops ult turn 1. They're kind of a little bit of a power combo on the same level as, let's say, Cloak and Dagger now, right? The Cloak and Dagger, they're still a power couple, but they do need their team for Crucible. Well, I would argue that Cyclops and Sunspot kind of fit that role as well. But if we can find a way to kind of get them in with Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Gambit, we might have on our hands a very, very interesting Crucible team, where the enemy's going to have to find a way to go first, otherwise risk getting stuck behind the Rogue and ripped apart by the Gambit, who has offense up from Sunspot, and who will also ult turn 2 if Sunspot's allowed to let his first ability go off. All right, then the final 3 characters, look, they're just kind of figureheads for their teams, if I'm being honest. With the new raid coming, we have no idea how difficult it's going to be, so here's my general advice for these 3 teams. I'm talking about Invaders, Pegasus, and Bifrost, but mostly the Invaders team. Invaders are going to be the oldest team remaining. You don't want to overinvest in them, because once the new skill team is out, they're dead, right? Like, Fury will go do Fury stuff, but the rest of the team will be dead until they get picked apart for the reworks along the way. But I kind of think the skill team is going to be the pain point for quite a while. Unless they've completely changed the nodes or drastically changed some positioning on the nodes, Invaders can still get it done. So you might be looking to bring them to 100. You might be looking to put a diamond or 2 on all those characters so that you and your raid members can still get through skill, get to that big boss node, and get a bunch of season points. That might be something that a couple players are looking to do, or the hardcore alliances are going to have everybody do. Well, you're going to want to keep an eye on your Invaders and see when you need to start putting levels on them. And then for Bifrost and Pegasus, I don't think it's going to be necessary, but I put them here for the exact same reason. If you find in this new raid, your team is struggling for whatever reason, I would definitely put levels on those characters before I would invest diamonds on those characters and see how that progresses. So that's going to be it for the tier list, guys. I do want to give a shout out to like all of these characters here. Like Carnage and Venom, we're going to see what their actual reworks look like. Right now, it looks like Venom gets completely benched for Skrull. But if you don't have Skrull, then Venom would make the cut, obviously, because Carnage has the passive. You're going to want Carnage to live. So he would probably find himself somewhere up on that list. Black Panther 1 million, it was hard not to put him in D tier, but I did have to hold back. Omega Red, you might have been surprised not to see Omega Red. It's just Omega Red's speed is slowing him down right now, right? The rest of the new Warriors, I had to leave them here because I'm worried I'm just too biased towards Crucible. But like Cloak getting a kill for Dagger to then throw her ultimate is super impactful, so they would make this list. Now, obviously, this list is too long right now. We'll talk about like gold and all that in a second here. But yeah, it was very hard not to put all of these characters on this list, all the way up to, I would say, about the end of the Darkhold members. Yeah, so rated right here. So Rebirth, I don't think Rebirth make the cut. I think by the time you're even eyeballing these guys for war, their wartime will be over. And then the rest of the characters are complete garbage. But yeah, basically from Wong all the way up to Carnage, it was tough to not include them as a low D tier at some point. But their usefulness does seem to be faltering enough that I can kind of be like, they're the very, very last people you build up. All right, now let's talk about just like how the level caps kind of roll out, right? Because it's not like, hey, level cap's done, we're all level 100. Put level 95 to 100 on Skrull right away. No, it trickles out. So what I normally do when a level cap happens is I pick my favorite 6 or 7 characters. And whenever I hit a new level, I immediately put it on them, and I will hoard up to the equivalent of gold it cost me to bring them from whatever the original level was to one higher. So right now, let's say we hit from level 95, we hit 96. Well, I will level all the S-Tier characters and maybe Nightcrawler, and that'll be my 6 characters. And then I'm going to wait, I'm going to let my gold and my training materials build up, build up, build up. And once I break past whatever it cost me to bring those first 6 characters, once I go over that, then I'll go, okay, now I'll do Juggernaut, okay, now I'll do Quicksilver, now I'll do Kestrel, but I'll never go down to 0. Because once I go from 96 to 97, I double back. Okay, now I'm doing Skrull, now I'm doing Apocalypse, now I'm doing Robbie. And I rinse and repeat that strategy. In reality, as a normal player who's not spending a lot of money buying training materials or buying gold or buying campaign energy to level faster, right? Because it's gonna be months before you go from level 95 to level 100. It'll probably be 4 months for the regular player, I think is what it was. 4, maybe 3.5, 4 months. You're not going to be able to level everybody on this list. It's just not going to happen. Especially when you remember, there's going to be new characters coming along the way, right? Like when Red Goblin comes, well, all of a sudden, you're going to abandon leveling the new characters. You're going to bring Red Goblin probably all the way up to level 95 to be usable in the raids right away, because you're going to have him at low stars, right? Or maybe Red Goblin's going to jump on this list. He's going to be like, oh, no, he's a top 6 character. I got to bring him all the way up to 96 now, 97, wherever I'm at when he drops in. So you want to take that kind of a tiered approach where you always have a nice stockpile of gold. You don't want to overexert yourself. And then, you know, once you hit level 100, once that 3 or 4 month time goes, then what's probably going to end up happening is you might have 10, 11, maybe 12 of these characters done. They'll be level 100 as you hit level 100, if you take this approach. Then what you end up doing is you end up keeping up with the new characters, getting them maybe all the way up to 100. Maybe if it's a character like Ironheart that came out, you're just going to bring her up to level 95 because she'll work kit-based, because you would rather do your Icarus from 95 to 100, right? So once that happens, you kind of start picking 3 or 4 characters per patch that you bring from 95 to 100 while keeping up the new characters. And that's kind of the tiered approach I take when a level cap happens, to make sure I'm not overexerting myself, I'm not screwing myself over for new characters when they come. Because right now, you might be in a place where it's like, okay, I got the characters I want at level 95, so whenever a new character comes, boom, done. Bring them all up to level 95. That ceases to be the case, all right? So just keep that in mind. Don't blow your load on every single character as soon as you hit a level increase. Save some for new characters. That's the smart way. You don't want to get caught with your pants down. Anyway, this video went a lot longer than I thought it would. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out, watching this video, hanging out in chat the way you were. I heard you guys, well, I read you guys having a good conversation there. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.